He's back. I am here from the future to tell you he's done it again. You simply cannot keep writing me off. I'm telling you, this may or may not be the last video, because when they catch me, the FBI and MI5, they're going to link up and do Dragon Ball Z Fusion to shut me down, because it can't go on like this, can it? Maybe it can. This may be my greatest day of predictions so far. They thought I was a Champions League merchant. Well, we have a lot of things to discuss today. And as always, I don't ask for any apologies. All I ask is that if you happen to make a bit of change, or you just laughed at me for my predictions and now you realize you're wrong, just help us out with a little subscription. We are on the way to 50k. Slowly but surely, we're on 48.3. Hopefully this month we hit the 50k, and then all eyes on 100. But as always, we start in the Premier League, then we'll go to La Liga, then Serie A, Bundesliga, etc. You get the point by now if you've been here before. So the first game we're going to discuss, of course, the 3 p.m. kickoff, Burnley against Arsenal. I told you guys the score will be what? 2-0. What was the score? 2-0. They called that one perfect. And may I clarify as well, for those of you who watch on YouTube beyond the little TikTok short videos and whatnot, who did I say will score the second goal? Declan Rice. Now granted, Gyökeres got the first goal. I did not see that one coming. We're going to get into that as well. Of course, my other bold prediction, you asked me, oh, are Burnley going to score, blah, blah, blah. I said, forget about Burnley scoring a goal. The main question is whether or not Arsenal will concede a shot on target. Now, there's been much debate about whether or not it's counted. I'm still not 100% sure, but I think I may have been spot on, because in the 94th or 5th minute, Burnley got a free kick and they hit the post. It looked as though David Raya saved it with his little fingertips onto the post, but I don't know for certain because the ref blew the whistle. Clearly, he did not care about my prediction. He just said, you know what, you got your win, let me go home. But anyway, let's discuss the game, because Arsenal obviously looking to extend the gap at the top beyond City, Liverpool, and obviously, with all due respect, you know, Sunderland, Bournemouth and whatnot as well. And what do you know, the opening goal was yet another corner and yet another Gabriel assist. I made that video last week, or this week earlier rather, about the deadliest centre-backs and whatnot from set pieces. I forgot to factor the assist, bros, because this guy just keeps on doing it time and time again. He nods it back to Gyökeres, who scores the goal. And I would like to also say, for as much, you know, slander as he gets given, and as much as we can talk about like aesthetics and whatnot, I'd argue this was probably his best game in an Arsenal shirt, even outside of the goal, before the goal and after the goal. But I think scoring the goal, suddenly the confidence was oozing. I see him pinging passes, L1 triangles. Obviously for the second goal, he pings the pass crossfield on the counter-attack. Trossard whips it in. Declan Rice, bullet header, scores the second goal. And from that point, you know, I'll be honest, from 1-0, the game was done. Let's be very frank about it. We know Burnley can be a very tricky tie for any team. I forgot the exact stats, so apologies, but I heard it on commentary. I think like one team or something in the last year has beat them at home in the league or whatever. So, hey, fair play to, you know, Burnley, but the moment it went 1-0, it was game over. Very comfortable for Arsenal. I want to shout out, well, obviously, Gabriel. Declan Rice was fantastic again. Gyökeres, like I said, probably had his best game in an Arsenal shirt. I mean, the whole back line, like I said, they didn't really have anything to do because it's just pure clamps. I think Arsenal fans, beyond even caring about the win now, they're getting more nervous here when they see like Jadon Anthony or Fleming in and around the box, because they're thinking, no, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Not because they're going to score, but because they're going to ruin the shot on target stat. That is how, like, basically Arteta has changed their broke air life right now. Obviously, it's not trophies yet, but your broke air life has changed in terms of you're now just sitting there praying to not concede a shot, let alone goal. Saka's quietest game for Arsenal in a very, very long time. This was not a vintage Saka performance at all. Had 2 chances, both created by Gyökeres. One of them made by Gyökeres. 1 or 2 of them were made by Gyökeres. Didn't finish them, but again, if you're going to have, you know, 5-6 good games or whatever, you're going to have the off game here and there. As long as you get the win, it doesn't really matter. So big ups to Arsenal, big ups to myself for getting that perfect scoreline prediction. They went top of the league by 7 points, I believe it was. The next game that was on at 3 p.m. as well, they all laughed at me. This one, I can't lie, maybe I will demand apologies, you know, because for all that time that I'm there saying, guys, listen, I understand United have won 3 in a row. You're very excited, as you should be. Every fan would love to win 3 in a row, but take it easy. Why am I seeing let it all work out compilations because of 3 wins? They're showing like the Europa League final loss, and then they're showing like Mbeumo, you know, finishing last week or whatever. Guys, it's 3 wins. This is Manchester United, in my opinion, the biggest club in England. You have to act like you've been here before, bro. So when I said that, cool, they're on good form, but Sean Dyche at home in his first game, he's not going to allow that utter woke nonsense. You know what I mean? He's not going to allow you to just come and steamroll his way through. And to be honest, the first half, although, yeah, Casemiro scored, we'll get to that, it was basically Nottingham Forest's game in terms of United were playing into their trap, exactly how Forest wanted the game to be played. Very scrappy. It wasn't the crazy link-up with Sesko and Mbeumo, Cunha that we saw in the last couple of weeks. In fact, I'd argue all 3 of them were mid today. Below mid, actually. Sesko was absolutely abhorrent. Terrible performance from him. And Mbeumo, well, didn't score. Far less efficient. And Cunha, who I've been singing his praises, also wasn't at the races. However, they did score very controversially, of course, because Casemiro from the corner, that essentially was not a corner because it didn't cross the line. But obviously, look, you can't change it now. It is what it is. If there was VAR for corners and this kind of stuff, it might take even longer. I don't know. But realistically, it shouldn't have been a corner. United scored anyway. They went to halftime, and I don't know what the team talk was, but I imagine it's something along the lines of Sean Dyche saying, guys, it's Ruben Amorim. And immediately, second half, 2 goals in 2 minutes in the blink of an eye. Forest are up 2-1. Savona's running off knee sliding. I'm thinking, hey. But at halftime, I opened Twitter, and I'm seeing United fans talking about the title race. So hold on. The title race lasted a grand total of 5 minutes. Damn. That's a bit crazy. And this is what I mean. Like, you have to understand the levels we're talking here. Because, yes, Forest have been in poor form. Yes, United have won 3 in a row. But if you guys just do your predictions based on the last 5 results, you're not going to get anywhere, bro. You have to watch the games. You have to understand context always, the wider picture. This is why I'm a nerd and I watch so many games, bro, so that I can see these contexts. Why was I sitting there watching Nottingham Forest versus Porto in the Europa League? I don't even care about that competition. It's the only game I watched. I thought, you know what, let me lock in. So I could see this kind of thing coming. Lo and behold, like I said, it was basically Undoy just having the time of his life with Dalot. Dalot being absolutely shocking again. Ahmad, unfortunate, and I keep on saying he's not a wing back. I don't care what you say. He defended very well against Liverpool, sure. He's a class forward. I like him a lot going forward, but defensively, he was getting bullied, right? Obviously, Gibbs White beat him for the header, and he's just not really sure who to mark, where to mark at the back post. But he makes up for it in the 81st minute with a banging volley. I believe it was another set piece, right? The ball comes and is flicked out, and then he just basically volleys it in low into the bottom left corner of Cell's net to get the draw. So, remember in the YouTube video I said, by the way, I initially wrote 1-1 for TikTok, and then whilst I'm recording, I'm like, you know what? Actually, I want to say 2-2. But I said, you know, I'm going to leave it at 1-1 to avoid confusion. But you guys, you know what I said. So as far as I'm concerned, perfect. If that's not worth a sub, I don't know what is. If that's not worth a like on the video, for you to pause it right now, take 5 seconds and go and like it to help me out, I don't know what is. But anyway, we move on. I'm not going to go in depth into the other 3 PMs because obviously I did not watch 7 games at once. But what I will tell you is that we were spot on all of them. I told you, despite Leeds, you know, looking a bit dangerous, Brighton win, boom, it's a whitewash. Fulham win against Wolves. The odds were crazy for a Fulham win. I was so surprised because obviously Fulham have lost a few games in a row as well. They dunked on Wolves. Wolves are breaking records for games without a win right now. And Palace, who again, very, very big odds. It was like 2.05 or something. They got a comfy win and clean sheet. So big up to all of them. Now we get to the last 2 games of the Prem before we go to Spain. Spurs v Chelsea. Can I be honest, guys? I don't think I even want to discuss this game. I'm going to do it because we have to give Chelsea their credit. But Spurs, this is a disgrace. You have basically wasted everyone's time. And I'm going to be transparent with you guys from right now. When I tell you guys about what happened in this game, you're going to notice that suddenly there's like a cut-off point. That's because minute 70, no word of a lie, I fell asleep. I was there on my sofa. The good thing is, I was watching it via actual legal means on the television. But I still believe, had I watched that one via a very legal live stream on the laptop, I'll still be asking for a refund. Because how can the home team come out to play with 0.05 XG created at home? in a big game like this, that is embarrassing, guys. So anyway, the game started, and to be honest with you, both teams in the first 10, 15, 20 were quite bad. But I would say Chelsea upped up the gear in terms of they treated it like it was a game that they wanted to win, right? Spurs were kind of just like timid, you know, like not really engaging in anything. They were not... The onus is meant to be on you when you're at home, right? To come out, play a bit more expansive, try to break down the team. They were treating like it was a preseason friendly, while Chelsea players are flying into tackles, pressing high, and eventually, after great work from Caicedo pressing literally on the edge of the box again, he wins the ball. It leads to a João Pedro, not open goal, but nearly pretty much an open goal finish. He finally gets his goal after many games in a row, not even getting a shot on target. He gets his goal, and he could have had a hat-trick today, to be fair to him. The third chance, to be fair, was a very good save from Vicario. But before I speak about all of the Chelsea players and the Spurs players, guys, we need to have a conversation. It is time for an uncomfortable conversation, and that conversation is about Xavi Simons. What have Spurs done? It's too late for a refund. If only they had an extra wallet. Today's video sponsor. With the 100-day risk-free trial on offer, you're able to test out all its amazing features and decide for yourself if it fits your system. Not only does it hold cards, but it also holds bills and receipts. Up to 13 in total. Everything is easily accessible, so they can quickly use the pop-up mechanism and show Leipzig the receipt to try and get their funds back. Because subbing him on and then subbing him back off is crazy. You have to be able to identify quality when you see it, and this premium leather exudes quality, whilst also having built-in RFID protection to avoid wireless theft. So we will not be getting scammed like Tottenham Hotspur for £60 million. In fact, for you guys, I'm giving you discounts. Check out Extra's full sale to get 35% off and code Amenyah for an extra 10% off at checkout, on top of web sales with lifetime warranty. And maybe Spurs need that, because he essentially single-handedly cost me my 1-1 prediction. He came on minute 7 due to a Bergvall injury, concussion. I don't even know what happened. He kind of just got booted in the head, and then he started stumbling about. He wanted to stay on. They dragged him off. Xavi Simons came on, stunk up the gaff, and then got hooked back off. And it wasn't like a tactical thing, or like let's try and hold on to a lead or something. No, he was bad. I put him in my top 10 worst Prem transfers of the season. Spurs fans were in uproar. Now, granted, I get the Kudus one. Like I said in the comments, that was my mistake. I forgot Kudus to be in the good one. But in the bad one, Xavi Simons absolutely rubber stamped his place there. And if anything, he's gone higher and higher. He's gone under the radar. Now we know this guy simply hasn't got the minerals. You are letting them play piggy in the middle with your boy. You were there tweeting when you signed him. Let it all work out. You're worried about the wrong workout. Why is this guy getting bodied by everyone? Any single Chelsea player goes near him, he's on the floor and then he's there crying. His eyes are, oh, I can't do it, I can't. What kind of behavior is that? Every pass misplaced. You dribble a meter or two, bang, you've lost the ball. This was a really, really bad shift from him. And the other one, Spurs fans, when are we going to be honest about Amenyah? I saw people saying, again, get this guy in the best signings or whatever. I said, what are you talking about? Look at how bad you play when you're meant to be the one controlling the tempo, dictating the game. Look at how bad you play with Amenyah in your midfield every time. But as always, people just get fooled by DMs that have a bit of passion about them. It's the same thing with Ugarte, right? This is that kind of player that he runs around, wins the ball, and doesn't really do anything else. Yet you love him because he's very dedicated to the team. This was a bad performance from him. Again, another one at home for Spurs. They're calling it 3-point lane. Chelsea fans told me, listen, never doubt anyone at 3-point lane. I said, you know what? My bad. Fair enough. They got their goal. And to be honest, it's not even like Chelsea were fantastic, right? They were basically in second gear. They did not even have to leave second gear to get this win. It was just Chelsea saying, you know what? We've got our goal. And guess what? We don't even rate you. We're not even going to try to even go for a second or third goal, because obviously when you have the likes of Neto and Garnacho, who, as dangerous as they are never going to cause you actual problems. Let's be honest, bro. Get your one goal and just get out of there. Big up Sanchez, who is one of the most confusing players ever. 1 minute he's incredible, the next minute he has brain freeze, so big up to him today. Reece James was class again. I mean, the backline didn't really have much to do, like I said, but yeah. Not a good game from Spurs. I would say only Saar and Kudus had any performance of note. Jed Spence clearly was rattled at full time. because he got cooked basically the entire game by, you know, brothers like Malo Gusto and whatnot. So yeah, I'd also be angry. But alas, we get that one wrong. I thought it'd be 1-1. Maybe if Bergvall played, it'd be a different story. I don't know. But the last Prem game, Liverpool against Aston Villa. This one, I once again tell you guys, what can I do? All I try to inform you lot is of my opinions on the game. Whether or not it happens, just happens to be the case that today it happened nearly every time. You man do with that what you will. I said Liverpool are going to win. And guess what? When I was falling asleep watching that, you know, the Chelsea Spurs game, I woke up in this game. I resurrected. Just like I said Mohamed Salah will do on Halloween weekend, like the Egyptian mummy. He will rise and he will finally show up today. We saw Mo Salah back to, we're not going to say back to his best, but back to a better version. Maybe his best game this season so far. It's not a high bar, but compared to what he's been doing this last few months, this was his best game so far. He looked very active. He wasn't just getting patted on the head the entire game. To be honest with you, the first half, it was actually kind of 50-50, I would say. Villa had their chances. Liverpool had their chances. It was a lot of last-ditch blocks from both teams, right? Konsa making the blocks. Kamara was fantastic as well. But then likewise, Konate, who, again, this guy is so up and down with him, bro. Today, he was back to his best where it's like, you don't even try to run past him because you know Konate at like 70% running is still going to get there before you. So big up to him. But eventually, they made the breakthrough through Mo Salah getting the goal right on half-time. It was basically Aston Villa saying, hey, trick or treat. Salah said, yeah, give me treat. I don't do no trick or treat. Obviously, big up Muslim and whatnot. You don't do no trick or treat Halloween thing. Martinez said, no worries. Have this free goal instead. Open goal, Mo Salah right foot on half-time. And from that point, the fans, they're back again. They're confident, they're bouncing. Second half, it was pretty much all Liverpool for the first 15-20. Because the first half, like I said, was very even. I liked Morgan Rogers a lot. Onana was good as well. Gessan was causing some problems. But second half, Gravenberch scores a massive deflected goal. But again, it's good to have him back driving through the midfield. He scores a good goal. 2-0 in the end. Pretty comfortable. I liked Ekitike in this game. Gakpo was shocking. I'll be honest with you, really, really bad. I think, to be honest with you, Robertson made the biggest impact because Kirkes has been so bad that it's made Robertson look cold again. Now, that's not to say that Robertson is you know, a meaty player, but we know how good he was, one of the best left backs in Prem history. But in the last year, let's be honest, he was washed. So for him to be better than Kirkes already and everyone feel more confident, fair play to him. Fair play to Szoboszlai today. I know guys say that for some reason I can never praise him or whatever. I do when he does good things. Obviously, there was, in my opinion, a howler from him when he should have played in Salah for a bit, pretty much open goal. He didn't. But eventually, he made up for that, playing a bit better in general play. In the end, it was a comfortable Liverpool win. I think they deserved it in the end. So big ups to them. They are back to 7 points behind Arsenal, I believe it is. Let's fly to Spain, shall we? Where I told you guys Real Madrid will win 3-0. Unfortunately, Carreras ruined it because I was cooking, bro. I was cooking. Mbappe, listen, I'll be real. Let's even make the December Ballon d'Or list right now. Mbappe's going to be first, bro. This guy, he's just unbelievable. He scores the penalty to open the scoring. The second one, it's a little volley from about 6 yards out. Then they get another penalty. He says, you know what, Vinny? Yeah, cool, have it, bro. Vinny misses. I'm thinking Mbappe, bro. I get it. You're doing the good guy thing. You don't want to be the big dog like PSG. Go and get your hat-trick, bro. Don't let this guy take any more penalties. I understand you can argue Vinny's the one that won it. I don't want to see that, bro. Stat pad your goals because they're going to come and use that against you in August when they're counting the numbers like they do with their Excel spreadsheets. That's all they know. They don't watch the games. Bellingham, incredible finish to wrap it round. Finesses it 3-0 like a minute after the missed penalty. And I know I didn't put him in the October Ballon d'Or list, but that's because he came basically right at the end of the month. I think November time, he will start making his name and start climbing his way up there. But like I said, Carreras, minute 82, just bangs it. Left foot, rifles it, top bin. I said, you know what, hey man, fairs. Good game from most of them, really. It was comfortable, I can't lie. Valencia didn't really offer anything whatsoever. So big ups to Real Madrid. Obviously, shout out to Villarreal and Atleti for their big wins. I didn't watch those games though. Bayern, I said they'll win. Did I say 3-1, I think? I think I said 3-1. Now, to my surprise, when I saw the lineups, I was thinking, uh-oh, do I backtrack? I'm seeing Jackson, Gnabry, Carl, that's a beast, and Bischoff. I was thinking, I may have messed up here. But, lo and behold, they got the job done. Gnabry scored, Jackson scored, and Bade own goal. So, big ups to Bayern. Again, that's, league title wrapped up. No questions asked about it over there. This one, I said what PSG are about to do is not very nice. But I obviously meant winning 3-1 and performing really, really well. But the not very nice was Ramos scoring in the 94th minute to send PSG back to the top of the league. Obviously, Marseille won 1-0. I didn't watch the game, but it was a bit crazy. Monaco lost 1-0 to Paris. Over to Italy. Where's Italy on this thing? Have I skipped Italy already? No, there we are. This is the one that we messed up, bros. The thing is, I got the analysis spot on again. I said Como are cooking. They will play very well and maybe even deserve to win the game. And you could argue they did. But unfortunately for them, they employ Alvaro Morata, who I have to ask you guys that are here in the comments, is he the worst penalty taker of all time? Like, it's getting to a point where whenever this guy steps up, obviously big up Milinkovic-Savic, one of the best penalty taker or penalty savers rather in recent months, seasons. But Morata never looks confident, bro. He misses the penalty. Napoli hold on to a 1-0. But like I said, they will scrape first in the league, so I was spot on there. And the last 3 games, I'm not going to go through all them on the screen, but I said final they're going to win 3-1 against Volendam. They did. But my most spot on prediction, actually, before we end it, because I did get the Galatasaray one wrong, I went with a win. They drew 0-0 despite playing against 10 men. But I told you guys that Al Nassr are going to be al fire, and that Ronaldo's finish, the goal will be like, the finish will be like Al Owairan back in 1994. For those of us who remember. Now go to watch a TikTok, because I can use the footage there. I can't use it here because I'm going to get copyright. It's the same finish and he does the same celebration. If that's not worth you man liking it, I don't know what is. But that's all the games from me today. We are back. Hopefully you man enjoyed it. Hopefully you man made some bread. If you did, you know what I mean, maybe send me some on PayPal, I don't know. But again, back tomorrow, and then Tuesday, Champions League predictions. We will be back. Have a great rest of your weekend. In a bit. Bosh.